it's not us and them, but we are all in this together, right? People more think about their life because, oh, I'm here to help those who are suffering. And then they found, oh, this is my story. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Saying who?
All right, thank you. Thank you for joining our table discussion today. We're gonna just simply talk about how was the movement about Weave and Cleave and participating in together and creating communities of belonging, how it affected your leaders.
It had a major impact, the training on them, because it started to help them recognize their own trauma. I started to see my own life through a different lens and some experiences, and realizing things that I thought were parts of my personality were actually trauma responses. It's really, I think for me, it's been healing and personal, and then it's also been something that has, I think, driven me to want to continue to share it with other people.
I think, Pastor Jed, you told me that, thank you, Sang-hoon, after your training, a lot of our leaders now in the counseling.
Yes.
And what we've discovered by creating an environment of safety, we're able to create a space where people can belong.
Mm-hmm. Trauma-informed care, in a nutshell, is experiencing healing for yourself and then walking somebody else through it. It's looking at a person with a lens of what happened to you, not what's wrong with you.
And we often hear people say things like, this feels like my family, which is really just quite beautiful.
Yeah.
We're here to deal with creating communities of belonging in a very disconnected society.
Church is not a place to be perfect. Those struggling with substance abuse, those with traumatic past, whatever the case might be. They don't have to come in perfect. They don't have to leave perfect, but we're in process. We're practicing what that looks like.
Was trauma around my family? Yeah. But are we breaking this generation curse? Yeah. And the hardest part, I realize it has to start with me.
It's been powerful.
At your last Weave and Cleave gathering, at the one with the 300, there's a young gentleman who was in a transitional housing unit. He'd come out of a background of abuse, but through our interaction with him, he'd come to feel safe in this space. I invited him to start praying. A caseworker got him a hotel before the next place that he was going to. And he said, Pastor Jad, I prayed a very specific prayer, and it was answered. And somehow between that moment where he'd started praying and developing a relationship with Jesus, now he's an advocate for people in the foster care system. God has completely changed his life through forming a community of belonging.
And I'll just add, I think when we look at the system of care, recovery particularly is an area that is generally underfunded. And so it doesn't have the same levels of support. And when we talk about stigma, we talk about isolation, these communities of belonging, this plays feels an important gap.
90 jurisdictions across the entire country, Alaska, everywhere else, Hawaii, and there's only one that has a faith-based activity. So it's amazing for me to be part of the calling that God has on Maricopa counties.
And as a pastor and as a leader in our city, I'm so grateful for the support of the county.
Yes.
Supporting this work.
This is what we need. We need movement, and this is what Jesus is after too. He needs movement, because trauma doesn't just end, right? Like, as long as we're alive, I feel like we're always facing something that's traumatic.
You will meet people in some of the most vulnerable places, and it is a blessing to meet them there.
And we need to celebrate the compassion, perseverance, patience, kindness. Hopefully we can collaborative efforts with a persevering leadership so we can see the more fruition in our community.